Well, the news just came in, and it wasn't even fucking close. Joe Biden dominated. What are the numbers? Let's get the numbers up here. It's like half the votes in at this point, and like it's not even close. So obviously a lot of disappointment there. You'd hope that Bernie could have made a larger push there against Sleepy Joe. You know, I don't want to give Trump a lot of credit, but that's a good nickname. Fucking Sleepy Joe. You gotta wonder what the people of South Carolina are really thinking. It's like, is familiarity really that powerful of a thing? Just like, we know Joe, therefore he should be president. You know, he's Obama's buddy, therefore he should be president. You know, like, guess who else is friends with the Obamas? Fucking George W. Bush. Should he be president again because they're friends? Is that what that means? I mean, Joe consistently, do you even listen to him talk? He barely knows where he is or what he's doing. Just a couple days ago, he was saying that he was running for senator, and he doesn't even know what state he's in half the time. And he's like, his speeches just go off the rails. He doesn't know what he's talking about, and he just totally destroyed this primary. Let's get the results up here. You'd think that like finding real-time results would be the easiest thing, like on an election day, but you gotta like fucking click around, and instead of like results, just people articles, like just like filling you with information that you're not looking for. It's the same thing like with those you know, when you're at the movie theater, you know, you pull your phone out and the movie's over, you're like, is there anything after the credits? And then you don't get a yes or no, you get a fucking article this big. It's like a movie that came out today, opened to blah blah blah. People are wondering, is there something after the credits? Well, other movies of this type. And they're like, no, just yes or no, just fucking tell me. I went to the site, you're getting your ad revenue, don't make me scroll and like scan all the... We're talking about the election, okay. Okay, Joe's talking right now. I don't really care to hear what he has to say. I'll catch the highlights later and laugh silently. Okay, let's see. So they're breaking this down by demographics here. Ages 30 to 44, 36% for Biden, 28% for Sanders. Everyone else doesn't even have half of what Sanders got. See, 45 to 64. There you go. 54% Biden, 16% Bernie. It's like the old people fucking destroying the country for the next generation once again. You know, it wasn't enough that they bought up all the land and drove rent up. It wasn't enough that they filled fucking everything with lead and asbestos. You know, it wasn't enough that they took all the profits from the 20th century and the early part of this century for themselves and left nothing for us. It wasn't enough. This wasn't enough. Now they need their fucking baby boomer Joe Biden coming in here to just keep the ball rolling if possible. I mean, what are we gonna do if we're left with fucking Joe Biden? Who's his VP gonna be? Is it gonna be Bloomberg? What a disaster that's gonna be. Is it gonna be Pete? Ugh. 65 plus, 2/3 Biden. What a fucking surprise. Like, okay, so we got the results in. It is what it is. We're moving forward. What does this mean moving forward? The coverage obviously is going to shift. Just when the media was starting to come around to Bernie a little bit, stopping just like the whole smear campaign. Well, not stopping it, but at least, you know, slowing it down a little bit. Bernie he looks strong in a lot of states. You know, hopefully, I mean, I was about to say hopefully the voters are smart enough, but like, why even start that sentence? Voters aren't smart in this country. Voters don't give a fuck about learning anything in this country. They vote on their feelings. They vote their temperament. They do not vote based on facts or logic or reason. I guess you could say logic just in the most literal sense, is in that logic is just a series of if-then statements, right? So if Biden is running, then he will beat Trump. That's the if-then statement, and That's logic, but it's faulty logic because it's founded on bullshit. Now, can you imagine a Joe Biden-Trump debate? Can you imagine that? Trump just like being his normal goofy-ass self, Biden up there trying to string sentences together with Trump smirking over on the sidelines. Trump's fucking old too. You know, he's not that much younger than Biden, but like you can tell there's just like there's a big difference there between the two of them in terms of just like, you know, the mental processing. Now, there's a lot of differences between Trump's mental processing and most people, let's be honest, but I think he's got the advantage when it comes to energy and definitely in a one-on-one debate. Okay, no college degree, college grad. They're giving all this demographic information here, but they aren't showing like the total numbers. But I think it's something like 50% Biden and everyone else split the rest. It's such a shame. Like South Carolina, I mean, it's the South technically, I guess. So like, I guess you would expect them to go after Biden above everybody else because the South is just fucking predictable. Like it's fucking pathetic that like, oh, where are you from? Oh, the South. Well, I bet I can guess where you're going. That's a little unfair, but like when you're talking about like in the aggregate with everybody together, you could really, it's not hard to predict where it's going. Damn, self-identified Democrats, 57% Biden, 18 Bernie. Steyer in third place though in a lot of these. So I said in my last video I did like Steyer. He seemed like a very genuine person, and so I suppose that like there's a small contingent of people in South Carolina. See, I'm in Utah, and so we aren't getting. But I don't watch TV either. But Steyer is like pumping lots of ads. I guess, you know, that's probably why he got those numbers. It's not necessarily that people really like Steyer. It's just that he's not one of the other people, and he's been pumping the airwaves full of ads. It's the same, the familiarity. That's it. Like that's what South Carolina just got decided on. Is they were familiar with Biden, so he won. You're Bernie, another face that's been around forever. Second election in a row where he's been in the competition for the nomination, so familiar. Steyer pumping the airwaves full of fucking ads, so I guess that makes him familiar. In South Carolina is just, oh yeah, I saw his face, you know, therefore familiar, therefore I know him. You know, I try not to get worked up, you know, because like investing in the decisions of the average voter is just like doomed to upsetment, if I can make up a word. Is not something that you want to be banking your future on. Is like the aggregate total of the American voter. You couldn't even fill the aggregate knowledge of the American. You couldn't even fill a public library with the aggregate knowledge of the American voter. Like 300 plus million people probably couldn't fill a bookshelf. I usually don't use hyperbole. Just forgive it, okay? Yeah, I know there are smart people out there probably know more than one bookshelf, but like, come on. So moving forward, the media coverage is going to definitely be changing. Biden's comeback, Bernie slumps, Bernie's done, Bernie's dead. It's going to be just like disingenuous argument after disingenuous argument, and are they doing it on purpose, or is it just like what they actually believe? You know, Biden wins his first state ever. He's never come in first place, and he's run for president 3 times. He's never won a state. This is his first one, so now all of a sudden he's got the momentum and he's the front runner because he won one state after what was it, like 3rd and 5th or 4th and 5th the last 2 states, or what do you do in Nevada? 2nd. Yeah, it was like 3rd, 5th, and 2nd, and a distant 2nd in Nevada. But you know, they're going to declare him the winner, and they're going to declare him the winner in more than just the vote count, I'm sure, as like he's the new front runner, which is just a shame because it's not an honest thing to say. People just don't want to educate themselves, you know. It's voting for Biden is like the laziest vote that you can possibly make. Like, it's a lazy vote. It isn't a thoughtful vote. You saw his name on the ticket months ago and you made up your mind, so you didn't have to do any work. That's why. You know, his record, you know, I'm a man who can get things done. Yeah, things that nobody wants that make less than, $40,000 a year. I've been really critical of like the neoliberal establishment, and it's hard not to be, because they just don't do anything for not even the poor. They don't do anything for the remaining middle class. I would consider myself middle class. I'm self-supporting. I have enough money to invest and travel occasionally and do things and like eat out every day if I wanted to, which I need to stop doing. I spend way too much money on takeout. But they don't do anything for anybody who isn't just like making like substantial money. They don't give a shit. They don't even want to build fucking roads so that we can drive our broke ass cars to work. They don't give a shit. They don't want to do anything for us because we can't donate like millions of dollars to them. That's like one of the reasons that Bernie is such a good option, is because he isn't taking millions from the millionaire billionaire donor class, because he doesn't give a shit about them. That's like, he's the total opposite, the yin and yang. The neoliberals is only the donor class, and Bernie is no donor class. It's just like it's the average person who's struggling, who's falling behind because our pay is not keeping up with inflation. I try not to get worked up. I really try, but it's hard, because it's just like, I'm getting to this point in my life where the more I learn, just the more angry I am at everything. Knowledge is power, but it's also very crippling to a point where you learn so much, and you get to a point where you feel the passion and the urge to go change things. Then you keep learning, and you see all the mechanisms put in place to stop real change for real people. Because the people in power make the rules to keep them there. And the media is like something like 90% of all the media we get is from like 6 companies. It's some ridiculous ratio like that, where they're all just big conglomerates, just like sticking together, pushing all the same narrative because they've got their agenda, and they just. So the coverage is probably going to be unwatchable here, at least until Tuesday. I'm going to go out and vote. Obviously, I'm going to be voting for Mr. Bernard Sanders. I would have liked to vote for Andrew Yang if he had any momentum whatsoever, but he's not even in the race. And I've said it before, and I'm probably going to keep saying it for a long time. The same as I can't believe the Steelers passed on George Kittle in the 5th round a couple years ago. I'm going to be angry about the American people passing on Andrew Yang, probably for a very long time. We've got a lot of states to go, and Bernie's polling really well. And hopefully people who are concerned about electability actually see the electability numbers, where you go state by state, and depending on what poll you look at, Bernie has the edge on Trump in damn near every state in the country. So hopefully that gets out and people see that. They see Bernie won. He won the first 3 states, and people think that it's like he's not doing well because like because he's getting less votes than he was when it was just him and Hillary. The vote is being split up between like 6 people, and Tulsi got 1%. That's nice. One out of every 100 people actually has a fucking brain on their shoulders. Apparently I don't, because I say stupid shit like brain on their shoulders. Let's see, Pete 8%, Klobuchar 3%. So Amy's done. It's time for her to pack it up. Tulsi, so Tulsi is an interesting case. Like, she's not going to win. She doesn't have a chance. She didn't have a chance before even the first vote in Iowa. She had no chance. But I think her message is more important than the election, because like she's out there just like really just like putting it out there, what she thinks is going to make the country better. And I think it's a very important message, and I don't want her to stop campaigning, because I want her to keep getting that out there. I just wish she would get any coverage, any. Oh man, for all the lip service that the Democrats and the left try to put on like diversity, obviously it's not diversity of thought they care about. They just but you have to think the same thing as long as you look different. So Tulsi, a woman of color, like how is she not getting any attention? Isn't that exactly what the intersectional left wants? She's an ethnic minority woman. Like forget that her ideas are really good and that she's a very intelligent, thoughtful, rational person who really seems to put a lot of effort into understanding things, which is why she went and met with Assad, whether you believe with that, agree with that or not. Like that's what you do when you want to learn things, is you talk to the top people on whatever side you are trying to understand. It doesn't get more top than the fucking dictator of the country. You go sit down with him, hear what he has to say, get your measure of him. People seem to be just content to like hear what other people are saying and not actually make a judgment on their own information. Tulsi went. She didn't want to take for someone else's word to base her opinion on the Syria conflict. She went on a fact-finding mission. She met with one of the motherfuckers in charge. How are you going to criticize that? Alright, but Tulsi's out of the race. There's not a lot of reason to talk about her in terms of the race anymore, though I probably will bring her up again, just because I like her a lot, and she's got a message worth hearing. If you aren't familiar, if all you've seen of her is the debate, just throw that out, because the debate is not the format for a thoughtful, intelligent person like Tulsi Gabbard. You gotta check out either her appearance on Joe Rogan, or just look up some of these long-form things where she's talking 20-30 minutes at a time and can actually expand on the ideas that she's talking about. And you can get a real feel for, like, all she wants is to knock out the war. She's not an isolationist. She just wants to just like stop the unnecessary death and the American imperialism, just wasting trillions, literal trillions of dollars on wars that had done nothing but make the world worse. Nothing is better for the wars that we've perpetrated in the Middle East. Nothing is better. Saddam's gone. Well, guess what? That country's a shit show. Gaddafi's gone. Well, guess what? Libya's selling fucking slaves in public. Like, it's not even like an underground trade. They're doing it in fucking market squares and shit and selling real people right now. You can watch that shit on YouTube. And so, yeah, that's all better. Syria, fucking bombed out hellhole. Fucking ISIS is like the heroes in Syria. Like, that was something we did. They withdrew all the troops except from the oil fields there. So what do you think they were actually there for? Was it a humanitarian thing? No, they were there for the fucking oil. So we are where we are now. The election still has a long way to go. I don't know if there are any more debates, but I fucking hope not, because the last one was miserable. They were getting pretty good there. The two before that I thought were really substantive and like something worth hearing, but the last one was just like objectively bad. It was the worst one I've ever seen. I'm not that old. I haven't watched that many, but like, good God, I can't imagine them getting much worse. So we've got Super Tuesday coming up, and we got like whatever states are left after that, and hopefully the voter before they go into that ballot box really put in a little effort. Is that too much to ask? Just a little effort. It's like this much effort. If you're watching this and you haven't really put in all that much effort, first off, shame on you. And second, before you go to the polling place, before you mail in the ballot, whatever you're doing, just spend 20 minutes. Just spend 20 minutes and try and find things that you don't like about the person you're voting for. Because they are out there. Bernie's not a perfect candidate. But some of these other people are just like, they've got a long, long record of not helping people like you and me. And people just don't seek out information that would bother them or that upsets them. So that's something that can set you apart from other people, is embracing information that doesn't help you, or rather doesn't help your worldview. You need to become a really well-rounded person. You need to learn how to accept facts that fly in the face of what you believe and integrate them into everything like every idea you have about that particular realm of thought. So Steyer has announced that his presidential campaign is ending. Let's listen to that a little bit.
I'm not leaving. You may want me out of here. I'm not leaving. We're already figuring out ways, in fact, to make sure that we stay in South Carolina. And
what does that mean?
I have loved the people, and I feel as if their fight is my fight, and I want to make sure that's true going forward. But there's no question today that this campaign, we were disappointed with where we came out. I think we got 1 or 2 delegates from congressional districts, which I thank South Carolina for. And the people,
he actually won some districts, huh?
But I said if I didn't see a path to winning, that I'd suspend my campaign. And honestly, I can't see a path where I can win the presidency. So am I going to continue to work on every single one of these issues? Yes, of course I am. Because I've never stopped.
See, that's why I like Steyer, because
That's
like he's a goals person. He's not coming
let
after
me
the
say,
power.
I kept trying to say this during the campaign. I'm a huge grassroots person. I'm a register engaged turnout person. Young people, black people, Latinos, people who are overlooked. Let's make sure their voices are heard, their votes are counted. I promise I'm going to do that because I've been doing that. And let me say this. I, of course, will be supporting. I've said from the beginning, every Democrat is a million times better than Trump. Trump is a disaster.
The way he's handling coronavirus is like, it can't get much worse.
Carolina. Lindsey Graham's a disaster. He's a disaster.
Oh, he's
for
South
the people.
Carolina. Yeah.
So of course I'll be working on that. And let me say one last thing. When the Lord closes a door, He opens a window.
All right. That makes a lot of sense. The same people that keep sending fucking Lindsey Graham up to Congress would also elect Joe Biden. It actually makes sense now. If, like, that seems like something I should know, is that Lindsey Graham is a South Carolina guy. That would have probably put a lot more damper on my spirits of Bernie's chances if I'd have known that. You know, I bet Kentucky's going to go for Biden too, because fucking Mitch McConnell. Oh man, it's really just shows that people just do not vote for their actual interests. They vote for what they think is the best for them, but they don't think very hard. So it's, you know, Steyer, he didn't add much to the discussion, but he was a good face, and I hope he does stick around, because he really seems like someone who actually really cares about getting things done in this country for people. You know, it's hard to fake that type of like passion that he had. I mean, I'm not saying you can't do it, but I consider myself a really good judge of character, and I can tell when someone's bullshitting me pretty well. And Steyer doesn't strike me as a bullshitter, which is hard to believe for someone who makes as much money as he did, because there's no way that you become a billionaire unless you bullshit somebody. But you know, he seems like a good person, and I'm glad that he ran for president. And I salute you, sir. So one of the notable results from this so far, with something like 60-70% of the voting in, is Sanders did win the 17-44. 17? You can't vote when you're 17. Never mind. It was only by 1% as of right now that he's ahead of Biden. But that is exactly what Bernie's been talking about. Is the young people need to come out if they want real change. You can't stay at home. You need to really get out and vote. You need to say the reasons why Bernie's good. You can't just like hold it inside and be afraid of people criticizing you. You need to make the argument if you really want something real, and also give Bernie a chance. Is you need to tell your friends. You need to get people out and vote. The young people. I mean, Biden dominated every other demographic, so like that's a big gap to win the 17-44, 17 allegedly, and then to lose by every other demographic by so much. You gotta hope that the young people will see that stat. I'm sure nobody's going to report that. No, it's not going to be on MSNBC. It's not going to be on CNN. It's just going to be a graphic in passing that no one's going to draw attention to. But he won the youth vote, if you consider people in their 40s youth. But like, he won the youth vote. He won it. So I hope people that don't just assume Bernie's going to win, they're going to see that like the youth vote is what's going to buoy Bernie. It's what's going to put him in the office. Older people don't want change because they're selfish. They're comfortable. I love my mom. She doesn't want anything to change because she's got her cycle, her daily routine. She's comfortable. She is where she wants to be. She doesn't want anything to change. I put that woman through hell, so I'm not surprised that she doesn't listen to me about anything. But it's the youth vote. We can't depend on older people because we are the new people. It's us. We aren't children anymore. I'm almost 30. I forget what age I am sometimes. I just say I'm 30-ish. I'm gonna be 30-ish for about a span of 7 years. It's something that we've really got to recognize. It's the youth vote is what's going to put Bernie in office. It's nothing else is going to help us. Everything else is working against us. The people that have lived in this world and have benefited from it, they don't want to change anything. They think that we're coming for their money if they're making $90,000 a year, even though we aren't. We want people making hundreds of millions of dollars. That's the people that we want to pitch back into the economy that's given them so much, to pay their workers more. It's not people that are doing well because that they worked hard and they made it to a place where they have a comfortable life. That's not the people that we're worried about. It's the people with the excessive wealth. It's the wastefulness that pisses me off about our economy. Betsy DeVos, our Secretary of Education, has 13 yachts while our teachers buy their own school supplies. What the fuck are we doing? Anyway, that's all I got. Like and subscribe. There's going to be more content, more rants. Ripe Gripes is the current title. I like it a lot. I'm open to suggestions. You can only change your name on YouTube so many times, though. So it's got to be something really good. I said in the last video that I wasn't going to read the comments. I was just kind of fucking with you guys. And I was kind of pissed off that night, too. I didn't want to hear anything from anybody, but I'm in a little better mood, even though Bernie lost. So, maybe put your idea for what you think this video series should be called, what this channel should be called. Ripe Gripes is the one I went with because I like rhyming. It's kind of a pun because it's like ripe grapes, but it's gripes. Yeah. So if you have a really good pun or an idea for a name for the channel, go ahead and put it below, and at some point I'll post a poll and see if it gets more than one vote. If I even get one comment. And it's a new channel. I'm not putting a lot of effort in the production values. I hope that just people will like what they hear and maybe share it with somebody. It'll make its rounds. This is more going to be a word of mouth channel. I'm not really looking to spend money, obviously, on cameras and microphones. So if people are interested in donating, maybe I'll start a Patreon, but I don't really see that happening right now or for the near future. But just leave me your ideas. We'll set up a poll and see what it comes out. Okay, Yang 2020.